Yeah, I remember when Antonio called me to tell me about Shorty. In March, my brother-in-law and my father-in-law's birthday, so we're having March birthdays at our house. And phone rings. It's Sunday, 3:30. I'm like, Antonio, I'm like, Hey, Antonio, is everything okay? Something just said, no.
Yeah.
No. He says, no, not really. He, so what's happening? He goes, when he told me, he goes, Shorty's was run over today. And I walked out of the kitchen, went into my library, and I said, what did you just say?
And he was sitting, we were together talking.
He says, Shorty got run over today. I go, was he going to be okay? And Antonio broke down and he says, no, he killed him.
I didn't believe it until the day I had to come to the office and I looked at his desk and it's empty. That's when it hit me.
I think it was harder too when they took his desk.
Oh yeah, that was tough.
Somehow we got on to Shorty Stories and just Shorty. I'll tell you guys a Shorty story. So we were in Florence, Alabama, and we were putting together a 700-ton shear. The old one, like 20 years ago, it was the big one, kind of like the 900. It was big. Yeah. So we're finishing up. We're doing the testing, running it, and in northern Alabama, that's a tornado zone. Yeah. And all of a sudden, this storm blew in, and literally lightning bolts, boom, right next to you. And me and Shorty are just hauling ass just to get underneath cover. And we're sitting there and watching this lightning show. Lightning bolts are hitting all around. It was just like, we can't go anywhere.
Yep.
Just dodging lightning bolts. Like, Shorty, you ever seen anything? Oh. I'm in Vietnam, he saw everything. Because he was, in Vietnam. So, that's Southeast Asia. And the weather there was hot all the time. So thunder, lightning, that was, to Shorty, it was nothing. I mean, he was the coolest. I was the guy all nervous, like, whoa, lightning bolts. And Shorty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever do an install with Shorty?
Yeah. I worked at Shorty one time, 4200 machine. I work over the time the machine, Shorty and me. He say, Pancho, you know how long you need for the house? Oh yeah, Shorty. Let me see. 24. What do you know 24? He says 10 inches, 20. That's one for the Shorty.
See, that's amazing. That guy, I remember when, I was 1972, he had just gotten back from Vietnam, and it was he just had a son, Chuck, and my dad's partner at the time, Morris Rosenberg, came up to Shorty and said, you just had a son, Shorty? Yes, sir. And he goes, well, we're going to give you a 25-cent an hour raise. Okay, today, that's equivalent to getting like a $2 an hour raise. I mean, it was huge back then. Shorty was old, thankful, and yeah, that was 1972. He had just gotten back from Vietnam. Him and Alex, you guys remember Alex Bertolucci, who used to work here?
Yeah.
Him and Alex came back from Vietnam just right around the same time. So, that's, but you got to work in the office with Shorty, man.
Yeah, for about 6-7 years. Yeah, bunch of stories. He told us one story when he was on the road, that he walked outside to get his paper in his briefs, and the door shut behind him, so he had to go downstairs to get his key in his briefs.
Yeah, I remember. You told me that story too. Yeah?
You imagine Shorty?
Angry.
Oh man, God, we miss Shorty. I came down here one time with Shorty. Okay, where the 1,100-ton shear is, this is 1988. And we're pouring the foundation to put the 660 shear in, okay? And so it was just hotter than hell. It was one of those July 110 degree. thing. So I came down to put water on the cement. I was with my dad. We drive in the yard, and Shorty was here. We're like, what are you doing here?
Yep.
Wife, you went to mass, and I'm coming down here. Well, why aren't you at church? This is my church. Yeah, he was so unbelievably dedicated to do he did so many little things that you really didn't know, but he did it. Did you get to work with him at all much?
Mainly in the office, but there was one trip when we went to Neenah, Wisconsin. But that was a real cool job. For days that we're trying to figure out what the problem is. And of course, Shorty ended up finding there was a short on the foot pedal. Mm-hmm. And within like 30, 40 minutes, sure enough, he found it. He would climb up and down the machine, and he was older. I'm like, Shorty, let me climb up. Just tell me what I got to do. Like, oh, no. So there he went, and there he came back down and up and down. And I'm like, man, for a 60-year-old, he moves pretty well. So he was just determined, smart guy, and
he's a tough cookie.
He was Popeye. Remember his forearms? His forearms. He carried stuff, and his forearms at his age, they're just swollen.
It was sure, but
He would be mad. He'd grab his wrist, be all sore, like, Shorty, let us do it. No, you guys are busy. And his forearms are swollen.
we went to Modesto. There was when I just barely started working for Sierra, so I started learning with him. And went to Modesto, and we stayed overnight over there. So in the morning, he told me, Memo, you like to get breakfast? Sure, why not? There was a winter time, so we got up 6 o'clock in the morning, and we passed for that street like a few times. And why are you looking for, Shorty? There was a Denny's right here last week. Are you sure? Yeah. So we went to work, and the evening we passed with the same street, and the demolition.
They demolished it. Was the demolition crew there?
Yeah.
Oh, he's...
And I said, see, I told you I'm not crazy. There was a Denny's right there.
Remember when we used to know what he'd go to Andre's to get his hot dog? Because he'd always have mustard on his shirt. What'd you have for lunch, Shorty? Oh, Andre's. Hot dog? Yep. How can you tell?
So he'd go down to the original Andre's.
Oh, yeah. You'd find him there at lunch, just sitting in his truck and eating.
Was it really?
oh yeah.
Have you guys seen the guy who, unfortunately, is a guy who sits on the freeway, asking for money? He'll wear a vest.
Yeah.
And he'll have a Sierra hat. Shorty gave him to them.
Oh, really?
Do you not know that? Shorty, he would see these guys who were walking the streets, and he'd stop. He'd give him his safety vest. He says, this way so you don't get run over.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah. Me and Shorty had a bet one time, and it was Liberty versus Centennial.
Well, because his grandson pitched for Centennial.
So I'm a Liberty grad. So I bet him. I told him, Shorty, I'll give you $10 if Liberty, if Centennial beats Liberty. And he's like, my grandson's pitching in that game. Okay. So sure enough, in that game, they ended up winning. But I was never able to give him the $10. So I went to his house, and I gave him the $10 to his wife. And I remember when I showed up, she's like, I heard about this bet. I knew you were going to pay me. I was just waiting for you to come and pay me.
Was this after he died?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I was like, well, you won the bet fair and square.
Yeah.
And when he had the baseball games, remember he used to shoot out of the parking lot? He was the only guy that would speed out of the parking lot to get to Centennial.
He didn't. Now his grandson wasn't a big guy.
No, he was a small guy. I saw him pitch.
But he could throw the baseball. So,
yeah.
Think about it, guys. I'm kind of glad Antonio's not here because, him and Shorty were so tight to hear the story. But, Shorty gave the vest to the guy so he wouldn't get run over, so he could be seen.
Yeah.
Shorty was run over.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. But anyway, so right after he was killed, I sent to the Bakersfield, California, to Richard Bean. I said, hey, this guy who was run over, Shorty, Lauren Bristol, he just wasn't a guy who just got run over. He was one of the most beloved persons, and I wrote an email the story. And I said, I want you to pay close attention because today his grandson is going to be pitching for Centennial against Highland with a really heavy heart. Or I don't know, against I forget who he was.
I think it was against Garces.
It was against Garces.
Yeah, because it was on the news.
Yeah, and
the last day we saw him, we went golfing that Friday, remember? And he had his shirt on and his little hat, and we were Shorty, yeah, on that Friday.
Remember when he showed up to the basketball game right there on at Mondavi Park? We told him, hey Shorty, we're gonna go play basketball at this time. Will you be there? I'll see you guys there. And we didn't think he was gonna show up. He shows up with that. Remember, he had that blue shirt with the little pocket in his notepad. Started taking the points. He was our score. He didn't want to play, but he was watching the game.
He's going to tell you guys who won the game.
Yeah, he was keeping score for us, and we never thought he was gonna show up, but he'd show up. He was a man of his word for sure.
He was pretty smart. You know, before when he was at the office, I like to get here 5:30 in the morning. One thing is the coffee that was ready. First, always he's about 5 o'clock right here, and we share knowledge. Like, he know a lot about the old machines.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot from him. So I enjoy to work with him a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he one time coming out is another. You know, you don't realize how many stories you have until you know the stuff that pops in your head. Yeah, so we were in Peekskill, New York, which is above New York City, kind of in the mountains, and we're doing a 3,500. And so we finished the install. I'm looking at my watch. I'm thinking, we can make this. The flight. I knew all the flights out of LaGuardia, okay, because I had traveled so much. I knew all the flight. There was a 7:45 at night flight out of LaGuardia, and it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now this is all pre 9/11, okay, so you know you could get to the airport. So I'm hauling ass down. We're down on this road called the Springbrook Parkway. Now we're navigating back in these days. This is 1989, 1990 with the old-fashioned maps, a real map, not your GPS that's on your phone. And we're hauling and I'm going, oh man, we're going to make this no problem. Stop. Dead stop. 20 minutes, no cars moved, and I'm just going crazy. So it breaks, and I hit the gas, and we're going 100, 110 miles an hour down the Springbrook Driveway. All right. There was a cop, and Shorty's looking right at the cop. And he just looked at me and just kind of went, guy never came after me. So we finally get to LaGuardia, and I couldn't figure out where to return the rent-a-car. And I finally got out of the car, ran up to the Avis truck, the drop-off truck. Where do you put your rent-a-cars? He goes, go over here. And so I get in there, and we get on the bus, and I give the guy a $20 bill. I go, get us to Terminal 2 to the American Airlines. We're out of here. The guy goes, okay. I'm thinking, all right, we got it. Now he starts stopping. At every one. I start yelling at him, get us to the terminal. So we get there. So we're running through the airport. Back in the day, because he still had the x-ray machine, I took my bag, I threw it on the conveyor. It literally went all the way through the x-ray machine and out the other end, picked it up, and I'm hauling. I get to the door. I go, hold the door. And they go, okay. Shorty.
Shorty was still back there.
Shorty he was 200 yards behind me. And so we get on the plane. So now I was upgraded because at the time I had flown so much. So I was sitting up in first class. And so I go, hey, send that guy back there and row. Send him a couple of beers. Lady comes back. I'm sorry, sir. He's asleep, and I'm not going to wake him up. So I look back in the cabin. There's Shorty. I think I worried the poor guy to death. Just put him out, man. Oh man, and you never wanted to let that guy down.
No, never. That's why in shipping we learned so much with him, was because of that. Because when he brought an order to you, he was bringing it to you to make sure that it was going to be handled the right way and go out the right way. And if it didn't go out the right way, he was the first one to tell you, hey, it didn't go out the right way.
Yeah, no. I'll tell you, God, I just can't believe how many of these stories I remember. One morning, we were flying back it was Bakersfield to Dallas to Newark, New Jersey. I woke up 30 minutes before the flight.
Wow.
I went up Gosford at 110 miles an hour. I made that flight because all I could think about is what was Shorty going to think of me if I didn't make it. I never miss a flight. for some godly reason, my alarm, I set it wrong. Of course, I set it 5 o'clock in the morning, right? Wrong, 5 p.m. Made that little, those were the little digital clocks. Tick, 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 tick. Okay, got it. There was no we didn't have that. Because how was I going to get a hold of Shorty? Because we didn't have cell phones back in those days, right? Yeah. He's going to be in Newark, going to rent a car, and I'm Oh, I made it 30 minutes. Now, mind you, all pre 9/11. So today, you just call it in. I'm not coming. I didn't make it.
Yeah, you got to leave a lot earlier nowadays.
I got started when I started working for Sierra. One of the second trip, they sent me close to Albany, New York, in February. So it was cold, it's snowing, really, really bad. So I don't got the right clothes. So I was Enrique. We put a 700, and I told him, "Hey, dude, it's gonna be a storm, and it's okay. We can keep working." Okay. To me, that was the first time in that kind of weather. So that was really, really cold. And I am on my mind, you know what? When I get back, I'm gonna quit. I don't need this. I'm gonna quit. And look at me after 12 years, I'm still here. That's one of the things I remember really, really bad.
I remember me, Pancho, and Memo. We were on the same flight. We were going somewhere. We were gonna connect. And I can't remember what the hours were, but for some reason we convinced Pancho that our flight, we were running late. So the whole time, he's got his backpack on one hand, he forgot his belt, so he's got his pants, and we're all running, and we're going along with it because it's fun.
That's the same for Shorty.
So we're like rushing, going through people, and we're just going with it. And Pancho's like, hold on. So finally we get to our gate, and he's like, wait, we don't board for another hour and a half.
He was all mad, had to run.
I think we bought him ice cream or something.
Here, Paul, have an ice cream. Oh, that's cruel, dude.